Hi, this is Nigel Maynard, editor-in-chief of Inside Beauty, and welcome to Beauty Talk. My guest today is Sampo Parkkinen. He is the CEO and founder of Revive. Sampo, how are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Great to have a conversation.
Awesome. Well, let's get started. So, can you tell my audience briefly what Revive is and how is the platform used?
So we are a beauty technology company. Effectively, we enable both beauty retailers as well as brands to personalize the customer experience throughout their entire consumer journey with the help of technologies like AI, AR, and so forth. And we provide a software service platform to allow them to do that as part of their consumer experience. And
Yeah.
today we work with more than 100 different brands and retailers on 5 continents.
So I understand CVS and Boots out of the UK are using your technology. So how are they redefining the beauty category using your platform?
As you know, if we think about beauty as a category, it's really the most personal product category of all products that you can buy as a consumer. And what that means from a consumer experience perspective is that you as a consumer, you really want to be treated as an individual. You want an experience that tells you that the companies that you're getting this from, whether it's your retailers, whether it's your brands, they really understand your needs as an individual. So both, CVS and Boots, what they're doing with us, how they're leveraging our platform is really enabling that sort of personalized customer experience for their consumer audience across different channels and touch points. So both online as well as in store, as well as inside of mobile apps. So in a true omni-channel way.
You had mentioned AI when you first talked about the company. Um, in what ways can AI technology enhance a pharmacy's ability to compete with other beauty outlets?
Again, if we think about the pharmacy industry, they are in a very unique position when it comes to beauty. As we know, as a result of COVID, in the minds of the consumer, the sort of beauty and health have really kind of been interlinked. So we talk about internally skin health, beauty, and wellness because that's really how the consumer is thinking about beauty these days. So for a lot of pharmacy retailers, getting into the beauty space and offering not just products and services, but actually a personalized, in-depth customer experience that really speaks to the needs of their consumer base is a natural extension and evolution of that sort of consumer thinking. So I think they're in a very unique position to sort of leverage technologies like AI to really, first and foremost, help the consumer understand which types of products or services they should be looking at buying in the first place, how they are sort of progressing, when it comes to their health and wellness and well-being, tracking that over time, as well as giving very detailed insights to those retailers in terms of what their audience is really looking for when it comes to skincare and beauty.
So can you explain how a shopper or a customer use your system to find the products that they need in the store?
On our platform, we have several different modules really aimed at specific parts of the consumer experience. So an example of a module that's really geared towards not just enabling a consumer to find the right products, but really providing the consumer with education, advice, guidance, and then recommending the right products for them would be a sort of customer experience that we call our advisor experience. So again, this is an omni-channel experience. It can be running in store on a digital screen. It could be accessible through a QR code in store. It could be running on the retailer's website inside of their mobile app, where the consumer really comes in and we gather data about the consumer, their preferences, their wants, their needs, their desires when it comes to skincare or makeup and so forth. We also leverage AI to analyze what's actually going on. What are we seeing with that particular consumer in terms of skincare concerns, for example? Then what we're doing is we're telling the consumer about that. Hey, here's what we discovered. Here's why typically this happens. This is where we're really helping provide that educational element back to the consumer. And then we're tying that back into recommendations of products, as an example, from that retailer's inventory using AI, which are the perfect routine given what we understand about the consumer. Or it could be recommendations of services as well. We know that a lot of pharmacy retailers offer not just products, but also services in these categories. So the recommendation could also be a service, a treatment, for example, to help with some of those issues that we've uncovered. So that's really, in a nutshell, an example of a quite straightforward advisory experience, a combination of advice, education, and then recommendation of the right routine for that consumer in that particular time.
Yeah. You had mentioned data, and that was going to be one of my next questions. I'm assuming then that the data that you're gathering is from multiple users so you can kind of get an idea for what's trending and that sort of thing.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So obviously, as a result of these types of customer experiences, the retailers and us are able to gather quite a bit of data on the preferences, the desires, the trends, which of course, as a retailer, you can start leveraging and harnessing that data for merchandising decisions. Which types of product lines, which types of brands do you want to have in your inventory? And of course, on an individual level, you can start understanding that individual consumer, tie that data into, for example, the loyalty programs that you have. Of course, this is all, we operate globally, so this is all GDPR, this is all BIPA, this is all CCPA compliant from a data collection and capture perspective. But you can really start understanding not just general level trends, but also that individual consumer, because this is data that the consumer is willingly giving you as part of that experience, because they want you to serve them well. They want you to be able to provide them with the right guidance, with the right advice, with the right recommendations, and therefore they're willing to give you these insights, which again, typically it would be the in-store beauty associate who they'd be having a conversation with, would be able to get this unstructured data.
So my final question for you today is, what's ahead for retailers, pharmacy retailers specifically, who are playing in the beauty space?
Like I mentioned, I think pharmacy retailers are in a really unique position because of this sort of intersection between health and wellness and beauty. I think overall, when it comes to the beauty space, there's a lot of competition for consumer interest. There's a lot of competition for consumer appetite, for consumer wallets, for consumer attention. You have a lot of brands. You have brands you're selling through retailers. You have online only. You have in-store. You have personalized brands. So there's a lot of competition in the beauty space. And I think for the pharmacy retailers, one of the things that they should really sort of think about if they want to sort of cut through that noise, it's not just about getting into the beauty space, making sure they're stocking the right products, the right inventory, or the right mix for their audiences, but it's really about making sure that, how do you create that compelling customer experience? How do you make sure that, you are the one who's not just trying to sell to the consumers, but you're actually proactively trying to help the consumers buy. And I think pharmacies in particular have a long history of doing that in other verticals. So I think their business models lead themselves very well to becoming a more and more significant participant in the sort of beauty industry as a whole.
Well, Sampo Parkkinen, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Anytime.